I've been in a lot of conversations lately with my private coaching clients and my retreat clients, as well as with you in my DMs on IG. And I've noticed that collectively we're tapping into a shift, okay? And this shift has not been gentle for many of us. I mean, I know from personal experience, which I'm going to get into in today's episode. But let me know in the comments if you have been intuitively sensing into this. And if you're like, what is this, Marina? Don't worry, I'll talk about it, but I know you've been feeling something because you've been talking about it or sensing it. And what has it been feeling like for you? And what I'm really talking about here is this call for expansion and showing up differently. Like what you were doing before cannot come with you on this next level of who you want to show up as, who you want to be. Let's call it the space in between. The space in between where you want to go and where you desire to be, and the mess that's happening right now. The mess that you cannot kind of put together. It's confusing. It feels like what I like to call dark expansion. So in today's episode, I'm going to dive deep into all of this. It's going to be like a little bit philosophical. It's going to be a little bit like where you need to journal, emotional, because literally before every phase of expansion in my business and personal life, I've gone through the dark expansion. I've gone through the mess of the space in between where I want to be and where I am right now, which is so uncomfortable. So if that's you, I'm sending you a huge, huge hug right now. Just know that you're about to get to that next level, girl. You're about to create something incredible, and there is a lot of pain right now. So how do you navigate that? That's what I want to talk about. Welcome back to Seen, Known, Paid. I'm your host, Marina Gergis, and this is the podcast where I share the secrets of building your true to self personal brand to help you feel lit up about your business, attract dream clients, and get paid big for who you are and get seen for who you are without the social media algorithm BS. But before we get into today's episode, yes, I'm drinking matcha out of a wine glass because why the heck not? Be bougie, be fancy, give yourself a little, I don't know, something something nice. But okay, where am I shooting today? Let me put this down before I spill. I am in Athens right now in a not so aesthetic apartment, so that's why my background is a little bit different. Why am I in Athens, Greece? Well, if you don't know, I have been traveling with my business for the last 5 years all around the world, and then I landed in Athens and I fell in love with it. It reminds me of where I'm from. I'm Egyptian born, and then I moved to the US when I was 19, so that's a little snippet about it, but I have a whole episode about my whole background and moving around the world and all that. But to get to the point, we are in Athens now, and what's going to happen is in June, in a month basically, I will be hosting 8 incredible, powerful women for my second Birth Your Brand Baby retreat. These are my signature rebranding, rebirthing retreats. I'm taking them to one of my favorite islands, which is the biggest island in Greece, Crete Island. And because I'm familiar with the places that I host my retreats, like the last one was in Mexico in Puerto Escondido, and this one is in Crete Island in Greece, I'm able to help my clients integrate within the culture and really see it for what it is. And with that being said, if you want to join me on my next experience, which is going to be incredible because I'm taking you to my homeland in Egypt, I have very limited spots for this retreat. So if you're feeling the call, look in the description box below and click the link to apply to join. This puts you on the priority wait list with me, and it gets you to talk to me directly so that we can see if this is the next big step for you as an industry leader to step into more power, more activation of your voice, more telling your story, and this becomes your strongest marketing asset. We already have 3 spots that have been claimed, so get on it now if you're feeling the call to come with me on an international retreat to such a magical place that is, I'm so proud to call my home. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that down below for you so that you can come with us. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. So as I was saying before every up level I have had in my business, whether that was my next income level or my expanding my identity as a leader, I have had what some refer to as a dark night of the soul moment. Well, I don't want to call it a moment because it was more like months in the darkness, in the cocoon, in the womb, whatever you want to call that, of divine change and transmutation. And I'm very intentional with these words because it literally is this. You get back in the womb, in the darkness, where anything is possible. And where you get to truly connect with what needs to stay and what needs to go, because that thing that needs to go or those things that need to go are exactly how you're going to get to that next level. And listen, it is not easy. I know you know. Because a lot of you have been tapping into a calling to step the F up. You need to step the F up. And you cannot ignore the calling. Because you know what happens when you ignore this calling to step the F up while you're in this space of in between where you're uncomfortable with what's going on in your life right now and you want to escape it? You're doing yourself a disservice. Because what's going to happen is you're going to stay where you are. You're going to resent it. And you're going to keep thinking about that next level all the time without actually going there. Because for you to actually go there, you need to tap into what you need to release and what you need to embody to become that next level version of yourself. So I want you to write that down. What do you need to release in this moment of in between where you need to go and where you are right now in order to go to that next level? And what do you need to embody? What do you need to feel? What do you need to actually do in this moment to become her? Because it doesn't happen when you get whatever you think you want later on. It happens now. It happens in this moment where there's pain, when there's no light at the end of the tunnel almost. Where you're like, I am so confused. I'm in the darkness and I don't know what to do. This is where you plant the seed for exactly what you want. If the calling is for you to step up into a bigger version of a leader that you know you are, to share a different message than the basic ass message you've been sharing. And I'm sorry, I'm not shitting on the message you've been sharing, but I know some of y'all out there have been just doing like 10% of what you can do. And you've been sharing 1% of the potential of the message and the bigness of it in your brand. And I know this because I've coached hundreds and hundreds of women directly on their personal brand and in group workshops and at my retreats where I have seen it time and time again. I've seen women not step into what they know they deserve and not step into that next level that's going to get them there because they're afraid. What are you afraid of? You're afraid that you will lose clients if you do this. Oh my God, Marina, I want to change my whole brand. I want to start talking about X, Y, and Z that feels more aligned for me, but my clients will not like that. My current audience will not want that. No one's going to follow me. No one's going to buy from me. All these are just fears. Let's breathe for a second here because, and yes, the fears, let's acknowledge the fears. They're here to protect you. They're here to protect everything you've built so far. But is this what's going to get you to the next level? If you keep protecting everything you've built so far, how are you going to step up to that next level? How? Because what you've done before is not going to take you that next level. Trust me on that. I know. How do I know? Because before launching my retreats, my 2 retreats, which I've launched at once, which was a big move for me, big scary move for me, I felt all sorts of fear. I felt like my throat chakra was blocked actually for like a whole year. Every time I came to create content online, the year before I put out my retreat, I felt like I was half-assing all my content. I mean, let's just be honest here. You know when you're half-assing. You know when you're not living your full potential. It shows up in the conversations you have. It shows up in the kind of content you create. It shows up in your bank account. It shows up in the relationships and clients you attract. Am I right or am I right? Let me know. And before launching the retreats for a whole year, I was feeling blocked in my throat chakra. And I was like, what is happening? I don't actually feel excited about the work that I'm doing, even though I was lit up, I was on fire about it for the longest time. But all of a sudden, I didn't like anything I was doing. Nothing was resonating. And you can tell my clientele started to dwindle down. My content wasn't attracting and magnetizing as it used to be. And I even felt that way physically. I felt that way. By the way, the body tells you always. The body signals to you when something is not aligned. And it's telling you it's time to change something because you don't feel as magnetic, as radiant, as glowing. Because literally, when I decided to step the F up and get over myself with gentleness and kindness, but also integrating the darkness and the shadow into what I do, I was able to birth something that allowed me to finally step into the leadership role that I've always seen myself as, leading women into bigger transformation beyond just branding and beyond just creating premium aesthetic online and getting paid and seen and known, which is the name of this podcast. And when I stepped into that, even though it was scary, which was after hosting my first retreat in Mexico earlier this year, I had this moment again. I was again in this dark night of the soul, which I'm still going through it, by the way, moment, the dark expansion. And I kept thinking, why am I there again? I mean, I've called in the things that I wanted to do. I've done the work to attract my dream relationship. And I've done the work to host my first retreat and get over that fear and step into my leadership role and my power and my authority. So why am I here again? And I realize it's because I'm still not fully ready for the things I have activated and received. And there's part of me that's holding on to that small identity I used to have before. Because until you work on the identity, until you upgrade and get to the next level where you are embodying this new identity, there's still work to be done. And you will continue to be in this dark integration phase until you get there. And that's okay. Because right now, what is being asked from me is to fully own the brilliance I have within. To fully own my leadership skill, to fully own that I can lead retreats. Because maybe there is doubt in my heart. And same thing in my relationships, because listen, love and money are so interconnected. And in my relationship right now, I'm with someone who is incredibly amazing, loving, kind. Yet, I fight that. Because deep down, I have a belief around worthiness of that love. And now I'm not going to get into this because it feels really personal, but I just want you to notice when this happens, where you block your blessings, where you block more expansion because you would rather stay safe and where you are right now. And these are the things that are happening behind the scenes for you before you get to the next level. And if that's happening for you right now and you're tapping into that and you're hearing a call for greatness, for more, for expansion, just know that you are better off sitting with that right now, doing work on that right now, then going to the next strategy and course and whatever. And listen, that is why I host my retreats. That is why I want to bring more women to these experiences where they get to sit with that and do that work. I'm not a therapist, but I create space for you to get in touch with what you truly desire so that you can birth it into this world. Instead of waiting around or holding on to something that you think is helping you, it's not. Or holding on to the fear that you're going to lose something by you up-leveling and stepping the F up. I want to read you a little bit from my journal because I was journaling about this the other day, and you know I love sharing about this. So this space in between, called it the in-between place. There is a place between your expanded self and your current self. The place where you are still transmuting your transformation, turning pain into joy, wounding into healing. Your next level is so close. But you're in the womb, the dark place of expansion. You can kind of see it. You can kind of understand that things are changing. But in this very moment, and for a whole while, now it's been nothing but painful, confusing, isolating, and sobering. Sobering is an important word here because this space that you're in while you're changing is going to show you everything that no longer is working for you. Even when you pretend it's not happening, you get another wake-up call saying, nope, not this. You can't go back to this. It's gotta go. It's gotta stop now. So what the F do you do while you're in this space? And my friends, here's what I've done to help me. You sit, you listen, you take notes. You sit, you listen, you take notes, you get better at understanding and then releasing. Releasing the need for speed. Knowing damn well that your transformation is around the corner. Your transformation is around the corner. I want you to believe that. But you need a little bit more baking. You need to sit in it a little bit more. But whatever you do, you cannot stay where you are now. You cannot stay where you are now. There's no comfort in where you are now. And you cannot stay there because staying there is doing yourself a huge disservice because listen, the calling is not going to stop. It's going to turn into yelling and then screaming until you listen. And maybe you won't. And if you don't, what's going to happen then? You okay with where you are? You okay with letting these huge opportunities slip by? When we're so fixed on receiving something and we want it to happen at a timeline that is our timeline, not the right timeline for us, not the divine timeline, not whatever you believe timeline is, we end up creating a resistance too. So I want you to be mindful of that while you're in this in-between space. Your job right now is to sit, listen, and integrate. Take notes and release. And release and release and release. The more you release, and this is what I'm doing right now, I'm telling you, I'm going through that fire with you. The more I'm releasing right now, and the more I'm looking at myself with radical honesty, and the more I'm saying no to the things I've been doing just to upkeep something I've been doing before, just to make some people happy or keep my clients happy or keep certain clients and whatever, all these fears and feeding into it. Yeah, when I release that, I know there's more space for me to step into that next level. I told you today's episode is going to be more philosophical, more emotional. And with that being said, your next level will require you to step the F up in major ways you haven't before. And that means you will be so uncomfortable, doubting yourself with every step that you take. It will leave you questioning if you are ready. You will feel naked without your old defenses to protect you, because what worked before to get you here won't work to take you to that next level you know you are craving. The choice is yours. You can accept the challenge and the discomfort. You can look your darkness right in the eyeballs and decide you are ready for the next iteration of who you are and take the lead. You have to take the lead. Or continue to play into the smallness of your past self that is screaming for an evolution. What will it be, my friend? What will it be? Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that to think about, to journal on, and I would love to hear from you. Your thoughts after listening to this episode or watching this video. And before we go, I would love to tell you about an incredible resource that I've created for women in business who have been feeling burnt out and not living in alignment with their natural cycle and feminine productivity. I use this planner to plan everything in my business, literally, and even these podcast episodes that I record, because I don't always feel like showing up and recording podcast episodes. So what I do is I align my recording schedule and what I do in my business and the sort of activities, whether it's speaking, recording, creating content, or doing more editing or design. I do that based on where I am in my cycle. And this is a method I've actually learned from taking courses about our hormones and womb healing and all that good stuff. And plus, I've been running my business for the last 5 years and while I'm traveling. So I have kind of mastered a way of doing business without the burnout and without the overwhelm. And I wanted to give you this calendar, the same one that I use to plan each quarter in my business and the activities that I do, for free. So it's going to be in the description below, and it's called my Feminine Business Planner. It's a Notion template. All you need is a free Notion account, and then use my template to plan each quarter in my business, in your business, and see yourself just feel more aligned, more radiant when you start doing it this way and not overwhelming yourself with productivity. All right, my friends, I hope you love this episode. Rate it, send it to a friend, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay vivacious. Bye. Hey, welcome back to Seen, Known, Paid. I'm your host, Marina Gergen.